We've already seen the hit pieces saying that Kanye is abusing his wife, Bianca Censori. Kathy Griffin added in her 2 cents. Bianca Censori clearly wants nothing to do with this. She's telling her friends who are concerned about her to F off. But this new piece in the Daily Mail has a bunch of insiders claiming that she's been instructed by Kanye to never speak. And he also has other weird rules for her, like what food she's allowed to eat. We already know that he's dressing her every day, telling her what to wear. So this says Kanye has a set of rules for Bianca, which includes never speaking and wearing what he wants her to wear. That's evident. But I mean, why would she want to speak to the media anyway when they're just going to ask her to throw Kanye under the bus, right? Look, if she tried to take an interview, they would just ask her, like, what do you think of his controversial comments about Jews or whatever? Like, there would be nothing to say there. She's also required to eat certain food items and to work out, even though Kanye doesn't work out.
Again, if you've got his money, you're allowed to have whatever standards you want.
Also, she was already super fit and in shape before they ever started dating.
She's not going to just stop working out because he doesn't work out.
Yeah, like that was probably already a part of her lifestyle anyway.
And again, remember when people say married, they're not legally married.
No,
they're
it's kind of a technicality
married.
So that he doesn't feel any guilt about having sex with her.
Yes.
Theoretically. A diet of kebabs, ice cream, and watermelon juice, which is an aphrodisiac, is permitted.
I'm sorry, but I have to go up to this phrase. It says, it comes amid ongoing fears that the rapper is manipulating his so-called wife into a radicalized version of his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian. Look, at a certain point, like we're going to talk more about this, but because of the thing with Beyonce, but like at what age do women actually become responsible for their own actions and choices? She's an adult. Her brain has fully developed. That frontal lobe is finished. It's not the size of a pear anymore, or of a pea anymore. She can make her own choices.
She's what, like 28?
She's 28. Like at a certain point, it's not that a man is manipulating you. You're just making a value judgment on what type of choices you're willing to let a man make for you in return for what you deem to be a fair return on your investment, meaning either increased levels of notoriety, which will help your career later. Maybe it's money. I don't know. But at some point, everybody's an adult here. There is no victim here.
I think what she's doing, what she's choosing to do is degrading and gross. But I still recognize that this is her free decision she's making. Yeah. And she's going to deal with the consequences later. A lot of fabricated Me Too style allegations come forward when a woman makes a value judgment like that and it doesn't have the results that she was hoping for. You sleep with the movie producer and you don't get the role you thought you were going to get.
I faked it.
You realize you made a bad gamble with your dignity and your standards for yourself, and then you want to blame somebody else. And this is already after we know her friends have come to her with these concerns, and she told them to F off, said that they're jealous of her fame, and stopped talking to them. Yeah. She knows what she's doing.
I mean, I can already picture later the interview where she talks about how she was under his spell.
Maybe she will turn on him.
She will.
Maybe she will, and everyone will fall in line and believe her, and because believe all women, right?
Because women are not.
It's stupid.
Because women are at the forefront of proving to you that women are not responsible for their own actions.
So this says a few of her friends were finally able to reach her, but she wasn't interested in talking, nor was she interested in anyone's concerns for her, says a close friend. I mean, she shut everyone out and told one of her former friends to F off when they tried to ask if she was okay. One of her former classmates described her as a social butterfly who was friends with everyone. Another says that she is stuck and her friends are trying to save her, but no one can because of the blockades Kanye has put up around her. What blockades? They don't have her phone number anymore? She changed her phone. Did he take her passport? What did he do?
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Like she just is choosing to live this extremely weird lifestyle right now.
There's also
because
like
she wants the fame and the money that comes from it.
There's also the trope going the other direction of like men who can, like, they can no longer hang out once they're in a relationship because they're with a girl that demands so much on their time. But that's never treated as like when the relationship ends, he's like, oh my gosh, she psychologically tortured me into making me spend every waking moment with her.
If a girlfriend tells you not to go on the boys' night and you follow her direction,
that's because you
your
made the choice.
Misjudgment. Yeah. Everyone is extremely concerned. This isn't who she is. She's an incredibly outspoken and lively person who is never one to keep her mouth shut. Kanye is trying to make Bianca into a radicalized version of Kim, almost like Kim 2.0. The difference is that when Kim was with Kanye, he was respected in the fashion world. He has since lost that respect. I mean, it is definitely a red flag that she bears such a clear like resemblance to Kim. Like in certain pictures I don't see it, in others she looks a lot like a young version of Kim, and that's his own pathology that he wants to stay stuck in that relationship after his wife has clearly moved on, you know. But still,
like she's 28. She's not a child. She's a very much a grown-up woman.
Well, she looks like Kim looked when she was 28. Like it is weird that they have that resemblance, but not surprising. And I mean, Kanye has a type. It's not surprising at all.
It also brings up this clip of Beyonce and Jay-Z, right?
Yeah, so people right now are talking about that how Beyonce is also a victim of grooming at the hands of Jay-Z because of this clip that resurfaced where Beyonce is giving a toast to her husband, saying, you know, they met when she was very young, and she
met when she was
learned
18.
from him how to be a woman. Let's just play that clip first.
This is nothing compared to what you've done. And not only me, but everybody here. You've taught me so many things. I was 20 years old when we first started dating. You taught me how to be a woman. You taught me how to live. You taught me how to be a friend. You've given me so much in life. And this is not enough. It's not enough I can give you. I just want you to be happy. And every year, I'm even more in love with you. And I want to spend every day of my life with you. Happy birthday. And I thank God for you every day.
So the clip, they're saying that it was grooming because they met when she was underage.
Well, she said in this clip they met or started dating when she was 19, right?
She said 19. She said 20.
She was either 19 or 20.
She said 20 in this, but people in the thing are saying 19.
This says, one of the most egregious examples of grooming being ignored by the public, and a huge part of that is because she's black, and another part is she's Beyonce. She's the queen, unimaginably strong and impactful. She is female empowerment. How could she possibly be a victim?
So is she a victim here?
No, she is not. I mean, hasn't she made entire albums slamming her husband for cheating on her? Yeah. How could you be a victim in that situation? You have more than enough voice.
Yep. She was a 20-year-old child, Mary. Yeah, it's a cultural thing.
How old was he? What's
he's
the
12,
age gap
He's 12
there?
years older than her.
He was like in his early 30s
yes.
then? Yeah. Don't see the big deal there.
Yep.
That's incredibly normal, especially for, you know, the 90s.
I would wonder.
And 2000s in the entertainment industry. What does her race have to do with it? What is that?
They're saying that it's being ignored because they would only care about the grooming of white women.
Oh, whatever.
Is what they're saying there. Yeah. It says.
It says they're 12 years apart and met when she was 18. Him teaching her, quote, how to be a woman is disgusting when you remember he was 30 when they got together. And that's the only adult relationship she's ever been in. I mean, why is that a bad thing? Like, I think Libby was talking about this with us before, that the expectation of how to use your prime years in your 20s is to just sleep around with as many people as possible in the name of gaining experience, becoming an insufferable and selfish person, and then try to settle down with someone who can tolerate you.
Yeah.
Like, maybe someone like Beyonce can get away with that because of her fame and her beauty and her money, but that doesn't translate for the vast majority of people.
One of the top comments says it's committing to a man at 19 is insane. That's what they're saying in this. They don't understand a world.
I mean, what do they think of 19-year-olds who commit to each other? Yeah. That happened throughout history.
I think they would have the same critique.
Is that grooming? How is that grooming?
No, they wouldn't call it. No, she's not talking about the groom. She's just saying committing to any man at 19 would be insane because you're supposed to go just do a bunch of dudes.
Any 19-year-old can make a stupid decision in who to marry, and any 19-year-old can make the best decision in who to marry. And I've known both examples.
Yep.
You know?
And
I mean, as far as the Kanye West and Bianca Censori thing, like in your own experience, have you seen any relationships that you saw where like clearly like you can't reach one of the people, like they're totally brainwashed in a way?
That's a very like hard line to put on something, because I've seen people that are very, very into their relationships where maybe it seems like one person is more into it than the other person, but I'm not going to lay that at the feet of the other person because I don't know enough about their private lives to say that. But I've known people who are where one person seems to be more interested than the other one pretty heavily, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that person is responsible for that person, that other person's responsible for that person's behavior. It just means that there's a certain level of inadequate, a gap between how they seem to be interested in one another. But that doesn't amount to something being done that's wrong.
Yeah,
necessarily.
exactly.
So
I mean, also the idea that in their however many decades of marriage, Beyonce has not done anything on the side is ridiculous as well. Like, I'm sure they have both been unfaithful to each other at different points.
Yeah, and they've got how many kids, and they've been together for how long? Like, it was a legal relate. Also, another thing they point out here, somebody says, like, what are we supposed to do when somebody who's this age, who's like a legal adult, gets with somebody that's 12 years old? They said, when they're a teenager. I'm like, so are you saying that we should just change the legal adult number to 20? Is that the solution to
or
this
is
that they're looking for?
Or is that a result of what plagues modern society that causes people to stay in extended adolescence for much longer than they ought to?
Yeah.
Like, only a parent knows that. Only a parent knows when their adult child is
also in the 90s, like in the 90s and the early 2000s, like nobody thought about it beyond the fact of just being legal. It was not the morality of it wasn't really a question back then.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Back then it was a question of the people who cared enough to talk about this stuff, which were the Ashton Kutchers and the people who did the countdown for the Olsen twins and the Hillary twins. So the reason why that became a thing is like nobody thought of it past the moral quandary of the legality of it, right? They're like, okay, I waited till they were 18 is what they're saying, right? But nobody really thought about, does that mean that you were tempted at 17? Nobody thought about whether that was weird or not back then. It just never seemed to come up. Mm-hmm. So it was a different world we lived in at that time.
This conversation has just become so insane. Like, I'm even seeing like think pieces saying, like girls should be married off the moment that they start menstruating. And I'm like, okay, maybe we've overcorrected here a little bit, guys. Like that's, everyone is just coming to the polar opposite.
And the chat in the comments on this topic, at least on the Beyonce one, are fairly split, of some people saying, yes, it's inappropriate, and other people saying that it's not. So
I think that you should ask Beyonce if she thinks it's inappropriate.
Well, they don't care what she has to say about it.
Of course not.
They don't care what she has to say about it.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.